It was a stormy evening when Michael Hargrove, one of the wealthiest men in the city, was involved in a devastating car accident. Rain lashed against the windshield, turning the road into a slick, dangerous ribbon. And in a matter of seconds, his life was changed forever. When paramedics arrived, he was unconscious, his body battered, and his pulse weak. The hospital staff moved quickly, but even their swift actions could not mask the gravity of his condition. He was pronounced in a coma, and the doctors warned his family that recovery might take months or even years, if it was possible at all. Amidst the flurry of medical activity, Emily, a young nurse, freshly graduated, stepped into Michael's room. She had always dreamed of working with critical care patients, though nothing could have prepared her for the solemn silence of a comatose patient. The room smelled of antiseptic and machines, and the steady beep of the heart monitor felt both reassuring and terrifying. Emily's gaze fell on Michael's face, pale and bruised, and something stirred deep within her. She felt an immediate pull, a responsibility not just to care for him physically, but to reach him in some way that medicine alone could not. Every day, Emily washed his body carefully, making sure to be gentle, mindful of the pain and bruises that might be hidden beneath the bandages. She brushed his hair, adjusted the sheets, and spoke to him softly. She told him stories of the outside world, of the rain and the sun, of small joys that he was missing while trapped in the silent darkness. She read passages from novels, recited poems, and even sang quietly, hoping that somewhere in the depth of his mind, he could hear her. Her colleagues often exchanged doubtful looks, thinking she was putting too much hope in a body that seemed unresponsive. But Emily ignored their skepticism. She believed that care was more than administering medicine. It was about touching the soul with patience and compassion. As days turned into weeks, Emily's routine never wavered. She arrived early in the mornings, stayed late into the nights, and dedicated herself to small acts of care that might seem insignificant to others. Though Michael's eyes remained closed, she spoke to him as if he were listening. "You're not alone," she whispered one evening, her voice breaking slightly from exhaustion. "I'm here, and I won't give up on you." The sincerity of her words filled the room with a strange warmth, a sense of hope that seemed to linger in the air. In that quiet hospital room, Emily began to weave a fragile connection, a thread of humanity that she hoped could reach him, even in the depths of his coma. Days blended into weeks, and Michael remained trapped in his silent world, unresponsive to the machines or the anxious faces around him. Yet Emily never faltered. Each morning, she entered his room with the same calm determination, greeting him softly, adjusting his blankets, and carefully tending to every wound and bruise. She spoke to him about everything: the gentle sway of trees outside the hospital, the chatter of children she had seen on her walk that morning, or a funny story from her own life. At times, she read from books, her voice a soft rhythm in the quiet room, hoping that somewhere in the darkness of his mind, he could hear her. Emily began noticing subtle signs that others overlooked: a slight twitch in his fingers, a faint change in breathing, or the occasional flutter of his eyelids. While the doctors dismissed them as involuntary reflexes, Emily refused to ignore them. She believed that somewhere, deep inside, Michael's consciousness was stirring. She adjusted her care accordingly, talking to him not as a patient, but as a person, someone who could feel and understand despite the silence. One rainy night, Emily sat beside his bed long after her shift ended. The rain drummed steadily against the hospital windows, and she whispered to him about hope, about resilience, about the life waiting for him beyond these sterile walls. "You're stronger than this, Michael," she said softly, pressing her hand gently over his. "I know you can fight through this. I believe in you." Exhaustion weighed on her body, but she stayed, convinced that her presence mattered more than rest. That night, as she drifted into a brief nap in the chair beside him, she dreamt vividly of a sunlit garden. In her dream, Michael was walking through the flowers, smiling, alive and free. She awoke with a start, unsure if it was simply a dream or a message from somewhere beyond her understanding. Yet something in the room had shifted. She noticed a faint warmth radiating from his hand where hers had been, and a subtle tension in his muscles that seemed more alive than before. Emily's unwavering dedication began to ripple beyond the quiet room. Other nurses and staff, initially skeptical, started to notice small changes in Michael's body, subtle signs that his condition was not as stagnant as they had assumed. Each twitch, each flutter, felt like a small victory, a whisper of life beneath the surface. Emily held on to hope with every fiber of her being, convinced that kindness, patience, and the simple act of truly seeing him could reach even the deepest shadows of his unconscious mind. And for the first time, she dared to believe that a miracle might be on the horizon. It was a quiet morning when Emily entered Michael's room, the hospital corridors still hushed from the early hour. She carried herself with her usual calm, pushing the memory of sleepless nights aside as she focused on her patient. The steady beep of the heart monitor greeted her, rhythmic and reassuring. She adjusted his blankets, washed his face, and whispered softly about the world outside: the sun breaking through clouds, the gentle rustle of leaves, the promise of a day waiting for him. As she brushed his hair, Emily noticed something unusual. Michael's fingers twitched more distinctly than before, almost as if responding to her touch. Her heart skipped a beat, but she tried to remain composed, unwilling to let excitement show too soon. She continued speaking, narrating a story about a boy who had overcome impossible odds. Her voice steady but filled with hope. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, Michael's eyelids fluttered. Emily froze, holding her breath, feeling the weight of the moment. The flutter became a blink, and the next moment, his eyes opened, revealing a hazel gaze filled with confusion and fear. Emily. His voice was weak, barely audible, hoarse from disuse. I can see you. Tears pricked Emily's eyes, and she swallowed hard, unable to speak immediately. She placed her hand over his, feeling a fragile warmth, a pulse of life that confirmed what her heart had been whispering all along. Yes, Michael, you're back. You're safe now, she said softly, her voice trembling with emotion. She guided him gently, helping him adjust as he tried to take in the room. The machines, the hospital walls that had been both prison and sanctuary. Michael's memories came back slowly, fragmented at first. He remembered the accident, the suffocating darkness. And then it presents someone speaking, someone caring, someone refusing to leave him behind. Every word Emily had whispered, every gentle touch, every story she had told him had created a lifeline that pulled him back from the edge of unconsciousness. He realized, in a profound and quiet way, that her dedication had been nothing short of miraculous. As Michael began to regain strength, his confusion transformed into gratitude. The realization that someone had truly cared for him, unconditionally, filled him with a deep, unexpected warmth. Emily stayed by his side, patient and steadfast, encouraging him through the first shaky breaths, the first attempts at speech, and the first hesitant movements. In that quiet hospital room, a miracle had unfolded, not one wrought by medicine alone, but by the unwavering kindness of a young nurse who refused to give up. For Michael, awakening was more than a return to life. It was a profound encounter with humanity, a testament to the power of patience, hope, and selfless care. And as he looked at Emily, he knew that some miracles were quiet, gentle, and born of pure, unwavering devotion. Michael's recovery progressed slowly but steadily, each day bringing new strength and clarity. The once silent hospital room, which had seemed so grim and unyielding, now hummed with small triumphs. A word spoken, a hand lifted, a smile returned. But for Michael, the true miracle had never been merely surviving it, had been the unwavering presence of Emily. Every time he looked at her, he remembered the nights she had stayed by his side, the stories she had read, the soft encouragement she had whispered when he could not respond. Her care had been a lifeline, pulling him back from darkness with patience, compassion, and unwavering faith. Touched beyond words. Michael wanted to honor Emily, not just privately, but in a way that could inspire others. He established a foundation dedicated to nurses and caregivers, emphasizing the human touch in medicine and ensuring that the dedication of people like Emily was recognized and supported. Yet, for him, no foundation could fully express the gratitude he felt. Emily had given him something far beyond life itself, humanity, and the understanding that even in the darkest moments, someone could care so deeply that it would change the course of another life. Emily, however, never sought recognition or reward. She found her fulfillment in seeing Michael regain his strength, in witnessing him laugh again, in hearing his voice grow confident and steady. They spent long afternoons walking through sunlit gardens, sharing quiet conversations about life, resilience, and the fragile beauty of human connection. Michael often reflected on the miracle of awakening, realizing that it had been more than medical recovery. It had been a rebirth, guided by kindness and unwavering devotion. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky with hues of gold and crimson, Michael paused during their walk and looked at Emily. "You didn't just save my life," he said softly, voice tinged with emotion. "You saved my heart." Emily smiled, a gentle warmth in her eyes. In that moment, words were unnecessary. The depth of their shared experience spoke louder than any expression could. And so, Michael's story became more than just one of survival. It became a testament to the quiet miracles that unfold when compassion, patience, and love intersect. It was a reminder that true healing reaches beyond the body, touching the soul in ways no medicine ever could. In the end, the miracle wasn't loud or grand, it was gentle, persistent, and born of the simple, profound humanity of a young nurse who refused to give up. Michael knew, and Emily knew, that some acts of care are powerful enough to change lives forever.